walk into a room that smells like old money and new danger. A man in a tailored suit doesn't rise to greet you. He slides a leather folder across the table. No small talk, no handshake, only a single page and a pen. He says 3 sentences. For every year you voluntarily spend in prison, I'll pay you $1 million the moment you're released. No tricks, no taxes, legal. You laugh, out loud, because it sounds like a movie. He sets a timer. You have 24 hours to decide. The clock starts when the folder lands on the table. You sign or you walk. You have 24 hours. Silence swallows the room. Outside, the city keeps pretending you're free. Inside, your life is a ledger. You think 1 year, 5 years, 10, an entire life. You think the math is simple until it isn't. At first, it's numbers. Debt erased, parents retired, a house with a real roof, freedom bought. You picture the press conference. You picture the headline, paid prisoner. Friends call it genius. Colleagues nod like economists evaluating risk. Your best friend says, I'd take 20 years without blinking. Your mother cries as if you handed her an urn. Your partner asks the question that lands harder than any cell door. Will the money matter if I've moved on while you're gone? It flickers across your chest like a bullet. You realize this isn't about losing a decade. It's about losing days, birthdays, first steps, midnight jokes that become myths. It's your time they want to buy. You pace. You make lists, pros, cons, investments, insurance. You bargain with possibilities. You imagine your family safe, laughing in a kitchen you built. You imagine your name on scholarships. You imagine a home with a garden. You also imagine someone else tucking your child in. You imagine anniversaries counting down without you. You imagine new technology you'll never learn. Old friends turning into strangers. You see the faces who will wait and the faces who won't. You choose. Not because you love sacrifice, but because you love the people who would benefit. You sign. The paper trembles in your hand. The billionaire nods like a judge. You walk out with a receipt that reads, term agreed. They book your entry. They give you a date. You put your life in escrow. Prison is smaller than you thought and larger. It is a place where minutes weigh more than money ever did. First night, a concrete heartbeat. You tally every sound. A door clanging, a distant laugh, the smell of coffee that isn't yours. You meet people who have traded time for other things. Some took the deal for survival, some for spite, some because the price of liberty had been raised on a market you couldn't afford. You keep a notebook. You write letters that may never be read. You learn rhythms, wake, work, count, sleep. You learn to fold days into smaller things. You learn the craft of patience. Years stack like bricks. Phones get smarter outside. The world shrinks and expands without you. You watch friends' birthdays on paper calendars. You earn trust and lose it faster than you expected. A lover's letters stop arriving. A best friend misses a visit and never explains. People you thought would fight for you find other wars. You become the quiet benchmark of other people's choices. Every year you serve as a deposit into a bank you cannot access. You imagine the moment of release 1,000 times? What will 1 million smell like after years of concrete? Will it feel like victory or like a bribe? Time becomes a thief in a new costume. You wake up one morning and realize you don't even remember the sound of a city you once owned. You miss an invention launch. You miss a family funeral. You miss a promotion you wanted. And yet you feel something stranger. An odd gratitude. Prison teaches you architecture of value, that the currency people crave most cannot be minted. You learn to measure life in small mercies. Sunlight through bars, a hot cup traded for a memory, a hand on a shoulder. You start keeping track not of money, but of meaning. You plan quietly for when you step back out. You build ideas in the margins of prison forms. You prepare to spend the fortune not on yourself, but to repair the ledger of other people's lives. Kindly subscribe to Fiery Grant. Release day is thin with light. You walk out and the world seems oversized. The billionaire is there. He watches you like someone watching an experiment conclude. He transfers the money, every dollar as promised. The account jumps. You feel the numbers like heavy rain landing on your palms. He leans in and smiles without warmth. I wasn't testing who loved money, he says. I was testing who would give up everything for a future they couldn't spend on themselves. You realize then, this was never about greed. It was about the measure of sacrifice. Thousands took his offer. Almost all regret it. A handful become something else. You aren't famous. You aren't a cautionary tale yet. You are now a steward. You buy your parents a house. You fund scholarships for kids from neighborhoods where time costs too much. You open businesses in towns that lost factories. You spend quietly, slowly, strategically. You invest in time, childcare, elder care, education. You fund programs that give people hours back, because now you know the true price of $1. It isn't the ink, it's the hours it can buy for someone else. Years later, someone asks the question your partner asked on that first night. Would you do it again? You pause. You look toward the prison gates on the horizon, small, then bigger in your memory. You think of an old notebook where you once counted days. You think of smiling faces in a classroom you helped build. You think of your mother asleep in a house with a real roof. You think of the nights you missed and the lives that were saved by the money you earned. You answer simply, money gave me freedom, but prison taught me its value. People expect dramatic repentance. They expect swagger. You offer neither. You walk away from being the richest person in the room. You are content with being the most careful with what that money can buy. That becomes your power, not to hoard, but to return hours to others, to fund time, to restore the most precious currency. You stand by a window in a building you helped save. Children laugh in a courtyard you paid for. An elder learns to read again in a class you funded. You watch the clock tick and don't flinch, because now you know no dollar can create the morning you've missed, but dollars can buy mornings for other people. That math, you decide, is worth every lost step. You walk out into a city that no longer defines you by wealth. You keep the billionaires' names out of the stories you tell. You keep the receipts of good done. And when the night comes and memory knocks at the door, you answer with a list of faces whose lives were extended by your sacrifice. You do not regret the ledger you signed. You regret only that time is finite. And then because you finally understand what freedom really costs, you keep paying it forward. Kindly subscribe after watching. Love you all.